Tell us, sir.
Maybe it's the calm before the storm.
What's the storm?
Could be the calm before the storm.
This is the world you are graduating into. This is what I want to talk about today with you for a few minutes. To lead in shaping a new world order for the 21st century.
New world order.
A new world order.
A new world order. New world order. New world order.
A new world order.
A new world order.
New world order.
New world order. And a new world order.
A new world order.
New world order.
New world order.
New world order.
A new world order. Need for a new world order.
A new world order.
Representatives of the Hindu, Buddhist, Jain, Sikh, Native American, Jewish, Islamic, and Christian communities of New York City. Now, I can tell you, Papa Francesco, we in New York are sinners. We are sinners. We have many flaws. We make many mistakes. But one of the things we do very well is sincere and fruitful interreligious friendship. We, who have the honor of pastoring our people, we work together. We pray together. We meet together. We talk to one another. And we try to serve as one, the city we are proud to call our earthly home, while awaiting our true and eternal residence in heaven.
May God protect us. May God nourish us. May we work together. May our dialogue be enlightening. May we be free from hate. Om, peace, peace, peace. Lead us from untruth to truth, from darkness to light, from death to immortality. May all know peace.
Bhavantu sukhi tanta.
Homage to the Buddha. Victory begets enmity. The defeated dwell in pain. The peaceful live happily.
Let us pray in silence.
Now you must pay attention, because you will hear leaders make consistent mention of it while never actually saying their full intentions. So when you're hearing them talk about our differences, when you're hearing them talk about unity and equality, when you hear them say words like how you worship, how you pray, very subtle words like that.
Right now, when people are scared, it's easy to be cynical and say, let me just look out for myself, or my family, or people who look or think or pray like me.
Distrusting those who don't look like you, or worship the way you do, or don't get their news from the same sources you do.
Reaffirm once again that in this country, regardless of what we look like, where we come from, who we worship, we are all one people.
The people in this room come from many, many backgrounds. You represent so many religions and so many views. But we are all united by our faith in our Creator and our firm knowledge that we are all equal in His eyes.
We are the dream keepers, which is why we come today black and white and all races and religions and sexual orientations to say this dream is still alive. You might have killed the dreamer, but you can't kill the dream, because truth crushed to earth shall rise again. We gonna rise, never to fall again. We gonna stand up even when our legs are tired. We gonna make this dream come true.
And it is part of my faith that all people are holy and all people are sacred, unconditionally. And that is what makes faith sometimes, that's what prompts us to transform, because it is unconditional.
They are actually saying that us being divided by our religions is something that we should not allow. It's subtle, and if you're not in tune with the agenda, it can often fly right by you.
La mayor parte de los habitantes del planeta se declaran creyentes. Esto debería provocar un diálogo entre las religiones. No debemos dejar de orar por él y colaborar con quienes piensan distinto.
Confío en Buda.
Creo en Dios.
Creo en Jesucristo.
Creo en Dios, Alá.
Muchos piensan distinto, sienten distinto, buscan a Dios o encuentran a Dios de diversa manera. En esta multitud, en este abanico de religiones, hay una sola certeza que tenemos para todos. Todos somos hijos de Dios.
Jews, Christians, and Muslims do not worship the same God. Jews and Christians should. But the people that the world refers to as Jews today, that want the temple to be rebuilt, do not recognize Yahshua as the Messiah. They are waiting for another Messiah that better suits them, just like Muslims are looking for their Mahdi. This is all about the one world religion. It's setting the stage for the Antichrist, and this is happening right before your eyes.
There is no crime too great for them to commit, no deception too base for them to practice, no disguise too difficult for them to assume. Vowed to perpetual poverty and humility, it was their studied aim to secure wealth and power, to be devoted to the overthrow of Protestantism and the re-establishment of the papal supremacy. Every cardinal, archbishop, and bishop in the Catholic Church takes an oath of allegiance to the Pope, in which occur the following words: heretics, schismatics, and rebels to our said Lord, the Pope, or his aforesaid successors, I will to my utmost persecute and oppose.
Mr. President, final question.
Yes, sir.
You said famously, when you looked into Vladimir Putin's eyes, you saw his soul.
Yeah.
When you look into Benedict XVI's eyes, what do you see?
God.
Good way to end the interview.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. My pleasure.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah.
When you look into Benedict XVI's eyes, what do you see?
God.
Not just the capital, but the geographical layout of the whole of Washington, D.C. was carefully designed, and the capital itself is just one component. Take a look at this photo and notice its relation to the Washington Monument, one of the most famous obelisks in the world. Notice how similar this is to the Vatican's layout. This exact same layout can be found in Paris also and many other cities. Why this configuration? The key to this is perhaps the dome, which dominates these buildings. In many ancient cultures, the dome shape represented the female principle or the womb. When you have the male principle, which is the obelisk, connected to the female principle, it was believed by occultists that a third entity, a kind of spiritual energy, is produced. We've already seen that idea in the square and compass logo. In occultism, the idea is also quite prevalent that certain shapes and colors either create or diffuse energies. We're quite familiar with this concept today in the form of Feng Shui, which was a craze a while ago. Arranging your furniture in relation to what they do with energies to create balance. You can think of this kind of arrangement between the obelisk and the dome as a kind of Feng Shui designed to generate a spiritual power. Now if we go inside the Capitol and look up at the dome, we see this. Now this dome looks almost exactly the same as the one in the Vatican, and at the top is a painting called the Apotheosis. It was painted by an artist called Constantino Brumidi. His story is interesting because in his younger years he became famous for his paintings commissioned by the Vatican. In 1848 there was a Masonic attempt to overthrow the power of the Pope, and although it was ultimately unsuccessful, this guy who made a living painting for the Vatican, Brumidi, was surprisingly found to be one of the guilty chief conspirators. After that he was shipped off to the USA, and there he made a name for himself by working for occult societies. It was he who painted this painting, which creates a kind of Masonic mirror image to the Vatican. The whole setup of the Capitol, dome and obelisk is present in the Masonic Washington and in the Catholic Vatican. Now this would seem odd for two seemingly opposed ideologies to do this, but then we remember Alice A. Bailey's pronouncement. There is no question, therefore, that the work to be done in familiarizing the general public with the nature of the mysteries is of paramount importance at this time. These mysteries will be restored to outer expression through the medium of the Church and the Masonic fraternity. Bailey predicted that the mystery religion would start to become familiar to the general public through both the Church, meaning the false Church, and the Masonic fraternity. This two-pronged attack appear to be on opposing sides but are working towards the same end. Remember that the founder of the Illuminated Masons, Adam Weishaupt, had actually come from the Catholic Jesuit order, but after creating the Masonic Illuminati, he claimed to be anti-Catholic. The Masons and Church appear to be opposed, but in fact are both puppets of Satan. At the top of the Capitol dome we find this statue, who symbolically faces east towards the sunrise. This is the goddess of reason who the French enthroned at Notre Dame, or as we've come to know her since the beginning of this study, Asherah or Ashtoreth. She pops up absolutely everywhere. This particular idol was designed by a Freemason, Thomas Crawford, and is standing on top of a spherical shape which almost certainly represents the earth, around which is written in Latin, E pluribus unum. This means, out of many, one. Now remember, there's always a light side and dark side to every symbol, so the lighter good meaning for public consumption is calling for the unity of the American people, which was made up of immigrants. The dark hidden meaning is that the whole world will be united under the feet of this enigmatic goddess. The American form of Asherah is mostly known as Columbia. The DC in Washington, D.C. actually stands for Washington District of Columbia, so effectively it's like saying that it's her district, her territory where she rules. Now the definition of apotheosis is the exaltation of a subject to a divine level. So who are they exalting to a divine level here? Well, if we look closer, we see that it's the same man who stands under the dome, George Washington. Look at the bottom and you will see the goddess Columbia or Asherah, and then George Washington is depicted directly above her. It represents the deification of the man George Washington. Note the pose he is striking with his left arm raised and his right hand extended outwards. He was depicted in a similar manner when this statue was commissioned. Now this statue is again elevating Washington to a position of God, as it was modelled on Zeus. It was meant to go on display at the Capitol, but after it was found to make people uncomfortable, it was moved to the Smithsonian Museum instead. What is extraordinary is that this pose is more commonly associated with Baphomet, the horned goat god that represents Satan. Remember when we turned the pentagram representing man upside down, we got Baphomet. So if the painting intends to elevate the man Washington to the level of a god, we are forced to ask the question, what kind of god? Incidentally, while Baphomet is on the screen, you may also notice that it has both male and female features, which is the usual male and female, light and dark from one source theme that we've already seen countless times. If we go back to the painting one more time, we see that the other figures that surround Washington are also ancient gods and goddesses from pagan mythologies.
We can also agree on the need to stand up to anti-Catholic bias, to defend religious liberty, and to create a culture that celebrates life.
And then he goes on to say this:
And we've got to come together, not only as a nation, but as a world community. Thank you very much. God bless you, and God bless America. Thank you. Thank you.
So he's talking about the one world government there.
And we've got to come together, not only as a nation, but as a world community.
And he says the religious leaders here are to be an example for everybody else.
And the great religious leaders here tonight give us all an example that we can follow.
Okay, I don't think they're probably that good of an example.
In the scriptures that we Jews and Christians and Muslims cherish,
and we've got to come together, not only as a nation, but as a world community.
This cross, this thing, and there's a crown above it. We couldn't make out what these different metals are there on his shoulder. But let me just show you what this thing is. This is the Order of the British Empire, OBE, for God and the Empire. You say, what's significant about that? Well, this order, if you do the research into it, you can look into it more, but it's a British Commonwealth order. In other words, it's people that are subservient to the throne of England, the throne of England being subservient to the Vatican. It is basically a Shriner level.
Of the Holy Father, Pope Francis. His message about rejecting a mindset of hostility. His calls to reduce inequality. His warnings about climate change.
We can also agree on the need to stand up to anti-Catholic bias.
Stand up to anti-Catholic bias. Well, then I guess I'm going to be in trouble, huh? Because I'm anti-Catholic. Because I'm against Roman Catholicism. Oh, but he's the lesser of two evils, right? Oh, you know, Hillary's such a wicked, liberal and thinks, and she is, but he'll be so much better. They're both servants of the Vatican.
So, folks, this is all in control of the Jesuits. So the joke being here is that Henry Kissinger and the other people that he mentioned are Catholic. I mean, what you're getting told here is the truth in the form of jokes.
And without the amazing support of the many devoted Catholics on stage. You know, Catholics like Henry Kissinger, Howard Rubinstein.
Like all Jews, apparently, and according to the internet conspiracy truthers, the Jews run the world. So this guy's telling you the truth here in the form of a joke.
And without the amazing support of the many devoted Catholics on stage. You know, Catholics like Henry Kissinger.
Okay, because they're not Jews, they are Catholic.
Gud, det ser ut som att de kommer från en helt annan tid, eller hur?
Precis.
Ja. Du, kolla. Är han naken?